Today in math, we are going to continue with our knowledge of making graphs and answering how many more, how many less questions about a graph. We have seen this video before, so this is a review day. We're going to start with this video to see how to use a frequency table to make a picture graph. Today is your test. You're going to be making a graph just like this video will show. So you are watching and listening to see the example. How can we make a graph? Use the frequency table to make a picture graph. I have a set of data talking about favorite pets. My first step is to record the title, favorite pets. Then I'm going to think about which categories I have in my data set. I have cats, dogs, and hamsters. So I'm going to type those words into my graph, cat, dog, hamster. I now have labeled the same categories that are in my frequency table. Today, when you make your graph for your test, you will check, do you have a title? Did you match the same categories that are on your frequency table? Do they match the ones on your graph, just like this example? You are watching and listening to see what you're going to do today on your test. Next, I need to think about the scale. I'm going to look at my data set, going to look at my greatest number. I see 10 is the greatest, and I'm going to think about an appropriate scale. I don't want to count by ones, so I need to pick a scale that's different than 1. If 10 is my greatest number, I probably want to pick a smaller scale so that I can represent the data using more than one picture. I also notice that my other numbers, 4 and 6, they're all able to be divided by 2. 2 is a great scale for this picture graph. So I'm going to create my key and show that each symbol is equal to 2 animals. Today, when you take your test, you will be making a graph very similar to this. You will look at your data and you will have to come up with a scale. Just like I did here, when I counted by 2s, you have to decide today if you're going to count by 2s. Awesome. Now it's time to start representing using the symbols. Over here to the left, I have my symbols ready for duplication. I'm going to copy them and duplicate them to move them to my graph. Let's start with my cat. 10 votes for cat. So I'm going to duplicate my cat and move in 1. Again, I know that each cat is equal to 2. So I'm going to skip count by 2s as I do this. So far I have 2, 4 cats, 6 cats, 8 cats, and 10 cats. I'm going to stop at 10 because my data set tells me there are 10 votes for cat as the favorite. Next, I'm going to look at the dog. On my data set, I see there are 4 votes for dog. So thinking about my multiplication and division facts, if my scale is 2, 2 times what equals 4? You guessed it. I'm going to count by 2s as I move my dog symbol. 2 dogs. 2 more dogs is equal to 4 votes for dog as the favorite pet. Lastly is our hamster. My data set tells me 6 votes for hamster. So I'm going to copy and duplicate, moving my hamster symbol into my picture graph, and I'm going to count by twos. 2, 4, 6. Awesome. After I create my graph, I'm going to check my work by skip counting just to make sure that I have done the right thing. My frequency table tells me that cats had 10 votes, so let's check the cats by skip counting. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Perfect. Dogs on my frequency table have 4 votes. Let's skip count by twos to check. 2, 4. Perfect. My frequency table shows 6 votes for hamster. Let's check over to the right. 2, 4, 6. Awesome work. Today is your assessment day, and you will be showing a graph just like what we watched in the video. You will be dragging your picture, skip counting after you put a title and a category. So that is a good review for our practice. I want you to join me on Seesaw, please. We're going to find our task together. Please click on Activities, Assign to Class folder, and blue Math. Our task today is called Post-Test Data and Graphs. Today is your assessment day. It is your test day to show what you have learned about making graphs and answering questions. Please click Add Response. And please start on slide number 2. On slide number 2 is another practice. We reviewed before a test by watching a video. You'll find that on slide 3 if you want to watch it again later. And now on slide 2, we're going to review how to answer questions on a graph. So here we have a graph. This is a picture graph. And I see a scale at the top. It says each symbol represents 5 bugs. So whoever created this graph chose to skip count by 5s. Okay, let's start with our first question at the bottom. How many more bugs? That's my question. How many more bugs were found in the long grass than the short grass? So when I see how many more or how many fewer or how many less, those are comparing words. I also notice the word than. That's a comparing word. That means you can use subtraction to find the correct answer. So let's look at our categories. How many more bugs were found in long grass than short grass? Let's go look for those categories on our Seesaw task. I see long grass right here at the top, and I'm comparing it to short grass. I have now found my 2 categories. I'm going to look at the data to answer how many more were found in long grass than short grass. So remember, my scale is counting by 5s. Each picture equals 5 bugs. So let's find out how many bugs were in the long grass. Let's count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Whatever I'm writing on Seesaw, you are writing on Seesaw. There are 25 bugs in the long grass. That's what the data is showing in our graph. Take a minute and show that you have counted up to 25 bugs for the long grass category. After we found how many bugs were in the long grass, we look at our next category, short grass. Now I found short grass on the graph. I'm going to use my scale to know how to skip count. There are 2 bugs, so 5, 10. There were 10 total bugs found in the short grass. I know my question words say how many more? Those are comparing questions. How many more tells me I can use subtraction. How many less tells me I can use subtraction. Let's compare 25 and 10. Start with the big number on top. 25 minus 10. Now you can subtract to find the difference. 25 minus 10. We have a difference of 15 bugs. So how many more bugs were found in the long grass? 15 more. You can even see that if you look at the graph. I see if I compare the pictures, both of them have 2 bug symbols right here. 1, 1, 2, 2. But if you count the ones that are more, there are 3 extra groups. So 5, 10, 15 more. Let's do our next question. Our next question says, what was the least common place to find bugs? So looking at our data, reading the graph to analyze and answer a question. What was the least common place? Least means less. So if I look at the graph, I see the place with the least amount of symbols under logs. So our answer under logs was the least common place. Whoever made this graph did not find many bugs under logs, but they did find lots of bugs in the long grass and short grass. Take a minute to make sure that you have these answered correctly, thinking about how you're going to use this knowledge today as you do your test and show your work. I'll give you a minute to copy what's on slide 2. Make sure you have your answers written correctly. All right, we have now done 2 practices together. We watched a video to review how to make a graph. Then we looked at a picture graph together and we answered 2 questions. Your next job is to review on your own by using a quizzes game. You are going to practice answering questions about graphs using a quizzes. Let's go find that together on our Seesaw task. Slide number 3 is the video if you want to watch it again. But right now, we're all going to slide number 4 with our quizzes link. Your job is to take the quiz and practice answering questions using graphs and data. When you get done with the quizzes, you have permission to go to the next slide and start your assessment. You will see slide number 5 says independent assessment. If you keep going, you will see the questions that you need to answer using the data. And then on the last slide, you need to make your own graph. Before we start the quizzes, I want to point out a couple of things. The directions will be read to you if you click the listening button. On every slide, the directions are read to you if you need help understanding what to do. Okay? I think all of us are ready. Let's go to slide 4. You may click the quiz link and start your practice. When you're done, you start your assessment. You may begin on the quizzes now.